putting it with this thing.
Okay.
Achha, it's already getting live streamed.
Yeah, Javed has just started.
Can you tell me this
Okay.
postdoc, how do you pronounce her surname?
Who?
Anjali Kaintakal.
Hi.
Anjali, you are online, so
Here.
Yeah.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. So you are Anjali Kaintakal.
It's a Kaitakkal, but you can call me Anjali. You don't have to go with the surname.
Okay, I think I just stick Anjali.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we haven't.
Sorry, come again?
I said I think we haven't met. I said I think we have not met, right?
Yes, nice to meet you. For me also, yeah.
yeah, Anjali is a solar physicist, and she's a postdoctoral fellow who has recently joined us. I mean, a couple of months ago,
Okay,
but
great.
during this lockdown and social distancing period, and as it is, since we are on a hill, so we are all socially distanced anyway. We sit in different buildings far away.
That's
yeah,
right.
but I think it's very nice if we, Dr. Virendra, to organize all these things on a very short time span. And
Well,
it's
thank
nice
you for
to
agreeing.
join as well,
Yes.
Dr. Priya.
Arre,
Yeah.
this is what I'm into about.
So Anjali is here. Dimple is here. I saw Neelamji's name, but probably she got disconnected. Kuntalji isn't here yet.
So what I'm planning is I'll give some kind of an intro,
Mhm.
right, in the beginning, and then each of them can talk for 5 minutes each, and then we'll do 10 minutes discussion and 5 minutes wrap up. That would be
Okay. Yeah. That will be fine.
Let's see if there's a spillover.
I have to say that this is my first time on a panel discussion, and I actually am not good at doing this.
Anjali, don't worry. This is my first time hosting it.
Okay.
Hello, Priya. How are you?
Yeah, Neelamji is here.
Hi, Neelam.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm also
How's
fine.
everything?
Yeah, fine.
Hi, Kuntal.
Hi, Priya.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Actually, see, I was telling Virendra, what I planned is that I'll bluff for 5 minutes in the beginning, some kind of this thing. And then each of you all, I'll give you all 5 minutes. Okay, so you can note your points. Basically, I'll tell you some points, and then I'll basically open the stage for you all to give your points. Okay, so we can, each of you all individually, I'll give you all in order a chance. And then after that, we can amongst ourselves discuss, right? And the last 5 minutes we'll do, I'll wrap up. That's fine?
Yeah, and are we going to specifically take up any of those questions which Virendra had put down in his email?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking is that, I mean, I will list them out, and the ones that I've added, I'll list them out. And then you can focus on whatever you think is closer to your heart, right? Which you think is requires more attention or stuff like that. So what I've done is his list is there, and I added some more things, few things. And I'll blah a little bit about that Women in Astronomy Working Group of IAU.
Yeah, that would be good. Yes.
And then you all can talk about whatever you think is important. If you want, you can repeat any of the points which I do, because I am anyway covering many points. It's all his list, so I think it covers everything.
Sure.
You can focus on what is more important and stuff like that. Okay, so then approximately 5 minutes, everybody gets 5 minutes. So 5 of us are there. 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 15 minutes open discussion we can do, or whatever, 20 minutes, and wrap up 5 minutes.
Yeah, fine.
That's fine, no, Virendra? That's what
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
Because he said it should finish in 45 to 1 hour. 45 minutes. Okay, so that's what I'll do.
वीरेंद्र जी परमिशन सबको रखना है
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Start. Oh, no, it's okay. I think we have time up. Start.
जावेद, आप कुछ बोल रहे हैं?
परमिशन सबके लिए रखना है
हाँ, अनम्यूट का. हाँ, हाँ. Suppose anyone else wants to put up a question or want to add in something, तो उसके लिए रख दीजिए. So people are slowly joining in. We'll wait for maybe a minute and then we can start.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can start. In the meantime, people will keep joining. So, good morning, everyone. Happy Women's International Women's Day. Today is March 8th, and it has been formally adopted by United Nations in 1977 as International Women's Day. We already had one of the activities as part of the celebration at Aries yesterday, wherein some of our women faculty, research scholars, PDF, gave short talks on their research works. So today, the program is an online panel discussion where the topic is obstacles, achievements, and challenges for women members in STEM fields, that is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. And so today on the panel, we have Dr. Priya Hassan from Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. She will be leading the panel. And apart from her, we have our other panel members, Aries Women Faculty, Dr. Kuntal Mishra, Dr. Neelam Pawar, and then we have our PDF, Dr. Anjali Kathekal, and then one of the research scholars, Dimple. So before starting this session, the requirement, like why this discussion is required. So we all, if we see around us, although the situation is changing, but for example, if we see in STEM fields, even after accounting for the slightly smaller fraction of women members who go for a degree in STEM fields, we find the representation in as a career, if we see women members, that representation is, it's the ratio is very, very less. So there have been some traditional challenges which as a society, consciously or subconsciously, have been imposed on women who try to choose STEM as a career option. And so during this panel discussion, some of these points will be highlighted. And I will repeat what I said yesterday by quoting the International Women's Day website, that a gender equal world is a just world, free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination against women. We aim to build a society where diversity, equity, and inclusivity are not neglected. In fact, these things and these differences are valued and celebrated. And it requires a collective effort which can forge gender equality. And with a collective effort, we can break the bias. So to start with, I will introduce Dr. Priya Hassan. She is an assistant professor in physics at Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. She did integrated masters from Moscow State University, Russia, and then did her PhD at Osmania University in astronomy, completing it in 2004. And then she had postdoctoral stints at France and IUCA. She was also awarded the Women Scientist, DST Women Scientist Award in 2006. And she has presented her works in various conferences in India, Europe, US, United Nations, Vienna. Her research interests are mainly in observational astronomy, star formation, star clusters, and galaxies. So she is not new to members at Aries. And in addition to this, she is also actively involved in Olympiads, public outreach, and science popularization program, as she is also a part of the public outreach and education committee of the Astronomical Society of India. That's where I got to interact with Dr. Hassan. And she has also worked on various projects with Indian International Astronomical Union's Office for Astronomy Development, US Consulate at Hyderabad, etc. She is co-chair of the Women in Astronomy Working Group, International Astronomical Union, and member of POAC, as I already mentioned. And she is also a part of 30-meter telescope project's international science development teams. So with this, I invite Dr. Hassan to initiate today's panel discussion. Thank you.
So thanks, Virendra. Thanks so much. And thanks, Aries Virendra, for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you all and initiate this panel discussion. Because first of all, happy International Women's Day to everyone. And I think this is an excellent opportunity that we get every Women's Day, every year. We get an opportunity to review progress of women, because in principle, the International Day is actually to commemorate the cultural, political, socio-economic achievements of women. But we do know that in reality, these achievements of women are not exactly what, I'm sure women are capable of much more, but they have been kind of suppressed. There have been issues, and there have been reasons why there has not been that much of progress of women, right? And I think that at least once a year, if we get an opportunity to discuss this, to actually talk about what are the issues, why is it that there is some kind of an impediment in women progressing, I think it can help us go forward, because we can actually review things and think about possible solutions to the problems that we do have. So I really thank Virendra for selecting the topic for this discussion, which is obstacles, achievements, and challenges. Because like I said, this is what I think we really need to review, and we need to give it some amount of thought as to what is it that we can do to actually progress. So I'll just like to briefly first set the stage about what do I think are the issues and what are the possible signs of progress in the issues. And then I'll be giving each of our great panel members a chance to individually speak about either the topics I talk about if they want to elaborate on it, or something else they can think about, because we have an excellent panel with us here. We have two faculty members, Kuntal and Neelam, who are friends of mine, and Anjali and Dimple, whom I'm meeting the first time, but it's nice to see them. So we have a postdoc and we have a research scholar. So we are actually trying to map women at these different important stages in their career, because at each stage, which each of our women are, our panelists are very important stages in the career of women, which actually have important issues to be handled. There are issues as research scholars, as postdocs, and then as faculty. So each of them require attention. And since we have a representative from each of these areas, that will probably help us. So let's just start off with the first issue. The first issue which women state, right, that's from birth, is the problem of gender stereotypes. So the problem is that we actually see that the kind of toys that girls are gifted, kind of toys that boys are gifted, right? And so what happens is these stereotypes, girls are given, kits of kitchens or dolls, be taking care of them. And so it gets ingrained into them that that's what they're supposed to be doing. While boys are given, Meccano sets, Lego sets, things like that, where he is given this opportunity to actually work with, construct, design, etc. And what happens is that actually leads to such a stereotype within us that the saddest part about this stereotype, I think, is that it gets so deeply ingrained in us that we do not even think of it as a bias. It is understood that mothers are supposed to do certain things and fathers are supposed to do certain things. And because it gets so deeply ingrained in us since birth, we do not even think of it as a bias. It's an understood thing that food will be cooked by your mother and your father will be driving the car. It's a done thing. And we don't even question it. And I think these are the most dangerous stereotypes, because we lose the capability of even seeing right from wrong, because we are so used to it, right? And along with that, it builds up in the sense of the pressure to conform with societal norms. So then it proceeds in the sense of marriage, right? Guys, girls, boys, girls, both get married. But a marriage has a different meaning for a woman in her life compared to a man in his life. And therefore, we see that even at recruitment, people are conscious whether your female employee is married or not, because they are conscious that she will have more responsibility if she's married compared to the ones who are unmarried. But it's very, very rarely that males, when they attend interviews, it's very rare that they are actually asked, are you married or no? do you have children or no? But women are definitely asked that question. Are you married and do you have children? And if children, how many? What are their ages? Because constantly the idea is, how will you manage to balance home and work? Somehow there is this impression that women can work as long as they balance men and work and home. Like one of the strange Women's Day cards I got today, which was really crazy, which actually showed a woman as some kind of goddess who has 10 hands, and with her 10 hands, she's taking care. She has a book in her hand, she has a baby in her hand, she has a saucepan in her hand, and she has everything. She's supposed to be this superwoman who will handle everything, run the household, manage the kids, manage the elders, as well as manage her work. So it's always this superwoman thing which is given to women, which is actually something very unfair, because after all, women are as human as men are, right? So assuming that a woman is going to be a superwoman who will manage everything, she's going to be brilliant in science, great at cooking, manage everything, and that is the role model which women are shown, that, oh, she is this great woman who can manage all these things at one time. And that is what every woman should achieve to do, which is, I think, a very wrong thing, because, like I said, women are human beings. You cannot have the woman be doing everything at a great level. That is demanding too much of the woman, right? And then it progresses. And then once, when this woman, as she does all this, and then she starts working, at work also, the working atmosphere, where, it is considered that if she's at work, then, there are problems with having women employees, because the woman employee cannot come in the night, she cannot come at odd hours, she has, restrictions on how long she can be in office, etc. And therefore, there's a constant discrimination at work, due to which the responsibilities given to work to women are also limited, because it is assumed that the woman cannot live up to the expectation, right? And therefore, in working, which again affects the promotions the woman gets, the positions she gets, the level that she goes up to, which is often called, the leaky pipe problem, that you start off with a large number of women as research scholars, as postdocs, but then when it comes to, for example, director level, there's a hesitation to assume that the woman will not be able to live up to the requirements of a director, because how will she retain her position? How does she grow in her position? And there are various issues. In the sense, another important issue is there's a lack of role models. There are very few role models of these wonder superwomen who manage everything. And there are childcare in the conference venue. There is issues of sexual harassment, and often women are told to just not hush it up, not talk about it. And there is things of unfair thing. The pandemic has actually led to a new Pandora's box of, again, the issues of women while they are doing this balancing work between work and this thing. So as Virendra mentioned, I am the co-chair for the Women's Working Group on Women in Astronomy for the International Astronomical Union. Our committee was just set up last year, and therefore we've just started our work. And we have actually tried to look about what are the things which we can do to help women. So we basically work in the form of 4 subgroups. One is about sustainability and awareness amongst women. Another important thing we are working on is fundraising, that often women need funds at crucial parts of their career. So there should be some way in which we can provide them funds. The third thing which we are working on, which I am very actively involved in, is training and skill development. That a very important thing is that women need to be trained and skill, so that they can, work to the requirement. And then the next idea has to be obviously about having discussions having exchanges worldwide with people on the various issues that are there. Like I mentioned, which includes bias, reduced career prospects, leaky pipeline, lacking role models, mentoring, childcare, harassment, discrimination, unfair working conditions. So I think I've listed out some of the issues which I think exist, and and the kind of things that we are trying to do about it. And we do hope that I also hope that through this panel discussion, we'll get some very important inputs as to what are the things that we can do to actually change the situation, because specifically in physical sciences and even more in astronomy, astrophysics, there definitely is a lack of women. If you actually even see International Astronomical Union, the best of cases in countries, you have a 20% women participation in membership. In most countries, it's less than 20%. And therefore, we really need to work hard to get this thing set to where we actually have an ideal condition where you have an equal spread of men and women in these organizations. So I'd first of all call upon Kultan to let us know what are her thoughts, and we'll progress then from Kuntal to Neelam, Anjali, and finally with Dimple. Yeah. So Kuntal, let's hear your views.
Thank you, Priya, and thank you for setting the stage for all the prevalent questions that we have in our society. And I would like to also wish you a very happy International Women's Day to all of you. Although it doesn't hold any significance if we don't put it into practice on our each and everyday life, right from our own household to our office premises. If we just consider it as a day to bring awareness amongst people on what International Women's Day is about and how we should be giving respect or encouragement to the women, in my eyes, it doesn't really hold any meaning. It should be in our day-to-day life and how we should be looking at it. So as Priya rightly said, that we don't have to be superwomen in doing all the jobs and duties that we are expected to be doing. And people should not be judging us, whether we are doing it perfectly or not, whether we are giving it 100% or not. We should not be really judged about it. One point which I would like to mention over here is that when you are a working woman, you're also judged as a mother, that you're leaving your child behind and you're going to work. In the office, your colleagues think that you're not giving your 100% to work. At home, or your neighbors think that you're not giving your 100% as a mother. I would say it's absolute nonsense, and never trust these things at all. You can do whatever you are good at, and it's your child. You are the mother of the child. You know how to best take care of your child, irrespective of what other people are thinking. So I think that is one thing which you as budding researchers who will eventually get into careers in astronomy or physics or any other branch should think that you are capable of doing of what you can. And you really shouldn't bother about what people think about you. So based on, childcare is a very important facility which we all should be getting, because that sort of like gives you some extra time to do some other things, right? And as an initiative of the Astronomical Society of India, we have the working group for gender equity in India. And we have made it a mandate for the last couple of years to provide childcare facility to the participants. Because many times the people, if both of the people are working, they are not able to attend the meetings or certain sessions because they have a young child. So we, as a part of WGG activities, try to get this into place, and we try that people avail this facility in these meetings. Now, WGG is a platform where we are trying to create awareness amongst the young students about the different kinds of activities. Like we have a very prominent lecture series called the Annamani lecture series, which is based on the pioneering physicist. She was a leading meteorologist many years back, and the series has been named after her. So we've got excellent speakers. So I would urge all of you to attend some of those talks in the WGG forum. In WGG, we also collect statistics about the participation of females, both faculty members and students in various research institutions and universities in our country. And believe me, the number is pathetic. It's very, very poor. The number of women faculties, it's very small. In Aries itself, you can see we only have 3 women faculty and 1 Inspire faculty as compared to our men colleagues. So, but that's not the end of the road. We should keep trying, and we should also, but with these numbers, the statistics that we have, we can try to put these out and have discussions on larger forums and see that why these numbers are so poor. Because up to the graduate and the master's level, we have a reasonably good amount of women students, even in PhD, but right after MSc or PhD, these numbers drop drastically. And that could be due to various reasons, like you have societal pressures of getting married, there could be family issues, or you as an individual could decide what you would want to do. And also the number of jobs in academia, that is also one reason why the number of female faculties drops down substantially at the higher education level. But we are trying to create awareness about this, and hopefully with these, the numbers will improve in the next few years. But I mean, nonetheless, we should keep trying, and we should try to talk to the authorities and try to convince them to have more faculty members as females in the organizations. Yeah, and we decided the title as Obstacles, Challenges, and Achievements. So if there are obstacles and challenges that we face in our day-to-day life, but I would also say that there are achievements which the women are gaining. It's not that we do not have women achievers. I especially appreciate Priya, who's our panel chair today. She's been doing a great job in creating awareness in terms of public outreach and the gender equity issues, despite her busy schedule. Every day almost she's giving a talk. So that I would call as an achievement. So with hard work, we will certainly have some achievements. When you achieve something, you really don't look back at the obstacles and the challenges you've reached, you've had to face to reach at this place. Like, I'll forget what I had to deal with 5 to 10 years back. I'll only look forward on what is happening to me now. And that's true with the rest of the people of our society also, where they really won't look at the challenges or the obstacle faced by a woman as compared to a man in reaching where she is today. So I think hard work and perseverance are the key ingredients to achieve your goal in life. And if you are determined to do so, there is no stopping. I think you should go out and pursue your dreams, what you want to do, despite all the hurdles and the obstacles that are on the way. So with this, I'll just stop, and I'll keep talking in between as we come across the different questions and when we come to the discussion session of this panel. So thank you all.
Yeah, I agree with Kuntal. I think you really hit it on the nail. The job is you just have to go on and on, right? You just have to, it's a test of patience, but you just have to keep working, right? And probably that's the deal. That's how I think most of us have managed our ways out, because all 3 of us, Kuntal, Neelam, me, all of us are mothers, and we have our responsibilities. So thanks a lot, Kuntal. Neelam, let's hear what you want to say. Neelam has 2 daughters, right? Kuntal, you have 1. Yeah, great.
Neelamji, you are on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you unmute, please?
Yeah, thank you. Happy Women's Day to all of you. Yeah, so as Kuntal mentioned, there is a there are enough number of graduates and masters, but in STEM, but yeah, there are like very few women candidates who have done like PhD, and who are further like getting the positions of uh, positions in science and this engineering and technology. So there is a large gap. If you see, around 47% of the women candidates who are doing like in STEM, they are doing very well. They are like graduates, or they have done their completed their education. So, but only 6 or 7% of them are like PhD in science and engineering and technology. And if we see, only a few percent of the faculty, or like faculty or permanent employee are there who are doing who are women, and they are like doing very good in engineering or science or technology. So what is the reason for this large gap, that earlier there were 47% of women doing education in STEM, and when they go up to higher position, or seek any position in the institute or universities or any good company, so why this percentage is down? So one of the reason is the family region. So this family region, some of the women, they also think that maybe they are not doing well justification with their like family duties or family commitments, so they are just leaving the job. And even if they are finding a very good opportunity, they don't go for it. So the family is one of the reason, and other reason is that if some of the women, if they take a break after like PhD, if someone is getting married, or someone as planning for family, so this may create a gap in career, and this career gap is also considered one of the reason that they don't get very good consideration for permanent position or other position. So this gap gap from like STEM education and getting a permanent job, this can be breezed if we get some relaxation in the like in terms of total number of experience, total number of years of experience in doing this work. And also if we get the flexible work timing, this gap can be like eliminated. And also we used to get the like leave, like parental leave. So if there are gender neutral parental leave, so this can also enhance our chances of getting more women in STEM thing. So actually government is also focusing on this issue, and in their like science, technology and innovation policy. So they are starting the grading system. So in this grading system, they will grade the institute or university or institute in terms of how advancement of women employees is taken care, and this will be one of the basis for the grading the institutes. So this is also a good initiative. And also there are other issues, like if we see most of the like IITs or other higher education institutes, so we see that in the top position there are only a few women, and even in like in if you see ISRO, so it's a very big institute organization, but it doesn't have till now it doesn't have any woman head. So it is also one of the region that if at the top if you have some women in the top, so she can understand other women's problems, or this can be also like role model for other candidates who want to like pursue research or education in STEM. So this will be also a good a good example for others. So in this way, we can also increase the number of STEM graduates and women who are focusing on like higher positions also. So it can enhance our chances. And yeah, so I think this is one of the way we can do very well. And so this will not also give us a chance to understand others' problem. And if we have other if we also think other biases, like in the workplaces, there are like gender biases also there. So most of the women Priya and Kuntal, they told that there are like biases that if some women faculty or some women apply for faculty or other position like PDF position also, so in the board everybody will think that because she's a woman, or if she is a married, then it means that she will give more time to her family as compared to work. And if she has children, then she will give comparatively less time to work. So our chances of getting employment will reduce if we are married and if we have kids. So actually we are like, it is not the case that we are not focusing on the work or we are not focusing on the family. We are trying to focus both of these things. And but it needs some promotion from the others, like from the employers also. And if we are like student, or if we are doing PhD, then also we need some some encouragement and encouragement or some help in terms of like flexible working hours, or other general neutral parental leave type of things we need. So we can do very much better than we are doing now. So with this thing, I will stop here. And yeah, in between I will be, if I will feel something to speak, I will speak in between.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks, Neelam. I think that is, I mean, I think one of, like I mentioned, since three of us are mothers, one of the biggest differences we feel is the presence of our children and what we need to do for the children. And hence, like you mentioned, and even Kuntal mentioned, the childcare thing is very, very important in conferences. I think conferences, it has to be a done thing that they have to be providing childcare. Because they, it can be justified, even the males may need it, right? Why should it be only thought of as a female related problem? And the other thing also which you mentioned, Neelam, which is very important, is that having director level, having women at higher level, because then, you at least have this assumption that hopefully this director female may be more, may understand better. So actually that's not always the reason. I've often seen women saying that men as bosses are more understanding. If they say, my kid is sick, I want to go home, maybe your male boss may be more accommodative. The female boss will say, oh, even I've done it, it happens, it's okay, you are making a big fuss about nothing. So I don't even know whether it always works that, female bosses are more understanding, because often people say that it's not always the case.
Yeah, but it will be like
Yeah.
it will encourage other women also, that
That's right.
one day they can also be
Saying it, you may feel more comfortable saying it.
yeah.
Oh, that my child is sick, or I have to go to school for parent teacher meeting, or something like that. Yeah. Thanks, Neelam. Thanks so much. Let's move on to Anjali.
Hi all, I'm Anjali. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at ARIS in the Solar Group. I'm very happy to be part of this panel discussion, and happy Women's Day wishes to all of you. I think most of the challenges and situational problems that we face as women in the workspace are discussed already by Dr. Priya, Dr. Kuntala, and Dr. Neelam. What I have to mention are some suggestions from a postdoctoral perspective. I guess that when I was abroad, I have come across some programs initiated by the institute or the consortium that is leading an institute. The thing is that when a women scientist starts her journey as a JRF and comes to the post of SRF and go ahead, I would say it would be great if in India also we can start programs that can support upcoming scientists, at least from the SRF level, to have a mentor program so that an established faculty, a woman faculty, can assist her in her journey, in her career journey, so that we know what all options lies ahead and what are the situational difficulties we might come across. So I think since Dr. Priya, Dr. Neelam are already, or Dr. Kundal are already doing some activities related with the DST and IAU, I guess maybe you can submit a proposal to one of these governing bodies to start a mentorship program for young upcoming scientists, at least from the SRF level, to have a permanent faculty member to guide them through their journey of becoming a scientist. Another thing is that when we do, I am personally very interested in doing outreach programs, but I guess the presence of women scientists actually doing all these outreach programs, I haven't seen much. And I think we personally being there to address them, to talk to them, interact with them, not only about science, but also about our career journey. The thing is that when it comes to girls or students, they're always confused. They have many thoughts in their head, and mostly because family situations, peer pressure, things like that. So we being there in person gives them the idea that, yeah, if they can do it, we also can give it a try and may achieve it and be there where they are now. So I guess the presence of women in public outreach should be one of the agendas when it comes to, funding agencies. Because I think students should be notified about not only about the success stories, but I think when we share our stories, we should mention our failures as well. Like, it's not always a cakewalk. We always fall down, but only thing that matters is that we get up and move forward. So career journey in academy also is not, it's not a glamorous journey or anything. So I think we need to address all these things when we project our career in academia. And another thing is that, like the previous speakers already mentioned, the idea of patience, perseverance, and perspiration. So it's not something that is achieved overnight. Another thing is that when it comes to having bosses, women as bosses, I think I agree with Dr. Priya's statement. It's not always a black and white situation that you will always be supported by a woman boss. It actually depends upon the personality, so that it doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a man. It's about empathetic feeling, to the person who is raising a concern. So I guess from my personal experience, it doesn't have to do with anything with gender, at least in most of the cases. At least that was my personal experience. another thing I wanted to mention is that, related to women who have a career and a family life, what I have seen is that international institutions having an in-campus crush. So they always have a mother-kid room in the campus, so that women or men who wants to bring their kids can leave the kids at the crush, or they can go to those. I would say, instead of naming it as a mother-kid room, it should be rather named as a parent room, because that is then as non-gender. So I think something like that can be started at institutes even in India. I don't know about the other institutes, whether they already have this kind of facility. So I think that is something that can be thought of to support parents, whether it's a mom or a father. I guess that's all what I wanted to say. And if there is something I like to add, maybe I can chip in later on when it comes. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks so much, Anjali. What you folks said was something I think very correct. I'm even noting it down, that stories with failures are important, because otherwise everything looks like, a fairy tale story where, the princess managed everything. But we have to also acknowledge, like I was saying earlier also, that we are not superwomen, right? We can't be sitting like a goddess with 10 hands who does everything. That's not possible. We cannot do that. And we do fail at times. It's not that we do everything so successfully, and we should be aware of it. I mean, it's part of our, being human. So what's wrong? So that's definitely right, where we acknowledge our failures also. We don't have to, because otherwise what happens is the message conveyed to the younger generation is that, oh, you can become this great scientist only if you're so brilliant. You have to be so brilliant. And in that case, you will manage with perseverance and hard work, you will make it big. But what about the common man, right? Common woman, right? It's not that everybody is born to be superbly intelligent. We are all of about equal intelligence. There's not such a big range, right? So the idea of it being achievable gets conveyed when you convey failures, right? Because then if somebody fails at something, he or she still feels confident. I can still go ahead because, so and so did not clear the net exam. That's okay. I needn't have, if I don't clear it, it's okay. I can still go ahead, right? Otherwise, people take that as an indicator that, you're not good enough to go up. The question is, I think, like, I didn't mention the imposter syndrome, but that is also something which women face a lot. Where, suppose you're going for a talk and you're suddenly feeling, oh God, am I really that good to be talking in this group? Do I really live up to it? Am I so great or not? But if you're aware of your failures, others' failures, things like that, you may have a talk where you messed it up for some reason, and that's fine. It happens, right? So I think that was a very good point which you mentioned. The bosses thing also, one way of fighting stereotypes is to try to be, I think, notice what are, like for example, you said mother and child room, it should be called parent room. Similarly, wherever we see that there is some kind of a bias, right, we should immediately bring it to our notice, because otherwise what happens is it creeps into us. When you're saying mother child room, everybody hears it, sees it, and it creeps into you that if a kid has come to work, the kid has come with the mother and not with the father. So I think the sensitization in the sense of these gender, imposing terms. Even the problem is we ourselves say these things, because it's so much into us that even we think of it like that. There's a kiddie birthday party. Oh, all the mothers must be going for it. Very rarely you say the fathers are also invited. In a kid's birthday party, the mothers are invited generally, not the fathers. So, yeah, thanks a lot. And let's move on to Dimple.
Hi, everyone. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you are.
Happy International Women's Day to all of you. My name is Dimple. I'm a senior research fellow at ARIS. So I will talk about the two main issues why there are less percentage of women in STEM. So that already Dr. Neelam has discussed that there is a gradual decrement in the in the percentage of women in STEM from secondary education to graduate and then to PhD, to postdoctorate degree. So what are the main causes of these? So that is already discussed, that women are think to be responsible for the household things, for the childcare and all these things. I want to bring some example of my student. I was a tutor in a coaching center, and there was a brother and sister, two cousins came to me for the coaching, and one of the brother was pursuing the coaching from an institute, Akash
Sorry,
Institute.
Dimple,
You
but
may
can you
all.
put on your camera? We'd like to see you.
Dimple is
Uh,
having some technical difficulty with the
Okay.
camera, so
Okay.
she's not able to do it.
my laptop is not working fine,
Okay, no
so
problem.
I'm sorry for that.
No problem.
So the brother said that the brother was taking coaching in the Akash Institute for the IIT, and the sister, I talked about the girl, why you are not taking the, because they belongs to same family and there was no issues like that. So she said that my parents are not allowing me for that. The reason she told me, she said that they said that you have to go for in the urban city for the for higher education, and the another reason is, we how we will found a groom for you, that should be more educated than you. So this is another problem in our society. The society think that the groom should be more educated than the girl, and if girl uh, uh, will be that much educated, then how we will found the same for them, for her. So these are the another thing from they don't want the girl to leave their house and go to the urban city, that they think that they are more responsible for the household thing and for the care of their parents. Another thing I want to bring in the note is that out of these graduate women, how many of these uh, how many of women are able to convert their degree to a career, to the employment? So there are many women which get degree, but after marriage, many of them are not allowed to go out and go out for the employment. So until they can't use their degree for the career, that will be in ruin. They usually are told to responsible for, again, the childcare and household things. So to uh, uh, to avoid this situation, to avoid these stereotypes, not only women have to come in front. This is duty of women and also the men to break these stereotypes. So every year when we celebrate Women's Day, most of the men think that it is a women thing. They have to discuss among themselves and they will do accordingly. But it is, we are the 50% of the society. To change the society, to break this stereotype, we all have to come together, men and women. So I just stop my words here, and
Dimple, I
happy
think
Women's
it's a
Day
lovely
again.
point that you said. I really fully agree with it, that men are as much as part of this thing as women are, right? All men obviously love their women, whether they are their mothers, sisters, wives, daughters, whatever. So they are very much part of it. And actually, if you see the bulk of women, men also do want to cooperate, also think differently. Let us now open it to the other Zoom participants. Is there anybody who wants to comment or add something to our stuff? Of the others on Zoom, do you all want to say something? And then I'll keep it open to our panel, whoever wants to say something. But is there somebody who's on the Zoom group who wants to say something? You're most welcome to add. Fine, I don't see anyone. So anyone from our panel who wants to add
I just have a comment, rather a question. Since you are all holding key positions in the academia, I just want to know when applications are being called for faculty positions or scientist positions, why only in India we are being asked to fill the column whether you're single or not? I don't understand that. That is one thing. Another thing I noticed that being missed is that none of these applications I have seen ever mentioning women candidates are especially encouraged to apply. I have never seen that.
Okay, that's a very important point. And actually, you are at that stage now when you'll be applying for jobs. And that's when you'll realize, like I said, women are asked, are you married or no? If you're married, how many children do you have? Men are not asked that, because if they are married, fine. They are supposed to be married. And if they have kids, fine. But women are asked those kind of questions, which is also very absurd. Like, so you said it starts off with single, and then in their interview, they'll ask you more details. And then the unmarried girls are also asked whether they are planning to get married. And the married ones are told if they don't have kids, are they planning to have children? Which is absurd. It's indecent to be asking
to be asked these questions. I mean, these are very personal things. It doesn't have anything to do with your professional life.
That's right. I think now just a few places you have applications forms where gender, you are given the option of male, female, or prefer not to say. In a few cases, you have that option, but it's not.
That is a huge step in comparing, considering things that are being done in India. I think that would be a huge step. Yes.
Yeah, but I think most of the time, if you prefer not to say, people assume that that's because you are neither male nor female, hence you prefer not to say. It's not that because you're female, but you don't want to say. It's assumed. So
I think the transgender community or a neutral gender community will also be facing much more issues than us, I would say.
Yeah. They can mention that if you say prefer not to say, then you are not eligible to reservations. So you give up, we say, okay, we don't want any reservation. Don't tag me as a female, take me as a regular applicant. You can say that if you opt for prefer not to say, you will in the regular quota. But I think it's high time they change these things in our forms. I think that's a very important point. Yeah. Kuntal, you want to say something?
Even though it is not related to this panel discussion, I also find it amusing that they ask for your religion.
Oh yeah, that's a very that's another thing which is.
I just can't stop laughing at this high echelons of academic people asking about your religious status.
Yeah, I don't know. I think these are changes which are required, definitely. But let's not discuss it, but that's a sad situation. I agree.
No, I just wanted to mention it, even though it's not related to this topic, but I hope things will change for good in the future. At least when people who thinks that these things has to be changed, when they come into key positions, most of the time what I see is that when they were students growing up and when they come to this lower level academic levels, they still remember these things. But when they reach the topmost positions, when they're at a position to take decisions, key decisions, they seems to forget that they were there. Yeah.
Narendra Singh, your hand is up. It's good to hear a man talk. Come.
Hello, very good morning to all of you. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Priya ma'am that she is there to, organize this very interesting activity. And and Kuntal also, of course, and many of our, female participants from Aries and scientists, they have done really, good as far as this subject is concerned, and women empowerment or education. So since you are there and you are holding, I think, some very good positions where some decision-making processes may also proceed, or some information that may go to the higher level as far as policy perspectives are concerned. So I have actually a few concerns as far as women are concerned, from women point of view, that we are talking here only about, say, the women who are working in government sector. But if you see, I mean, women as a whole in working in the private sector. So there are a lot of exploitation of the women in the private sector as well, and they have to, cope with their jobs, the family, and all these issues, which have been already discussed by Neelam, Kuntal, and other students from Aries. But then that is one point where, since we are sitting in a government setup, of course, we are talking only about that at the moment. But then this has to be looked into totality, that how many jobs are there in government sector or public sector at the moment. Only few get this opportunity, and very few female females go into higher professions or careers like this. So, but then this is one part, and second thing, that women education is the most important parameter, which I personally feel that if a woman is really educated, so she has to, she is basically torchbearer of two families. One is when she is at her parents' home, and then when she gets married, then goes to other home. So that kind of culture, or what we call sanskara, or say the education, what we are brought up into, and how, we are allowing her to groom, whether socially, educationally, or kind of say leadership we are providing her. So that part is also very important, that women education, of course, has to be kept on top priority as far as each individual family is concerned. And then third point is that since of course the women working in government sector, maybe in scientific field, we are mostly sticking to one place since our inception into job till the retirement. But then what happens, the other sectors of say government or public enterprises, their women has to go through a lot of transfer postings from one place to the other, and then her entire family get disturbed, because she's the only responsible person in the family, to my opinion, because we may be sometimes casual discipline, she has to follow all sort of rules are for her, to my opinion. We may sometimes miss, and we may not be able to fulfill our duties at occasions, but then she is of course the head of the family, to my opinion. And if she has to suffer a lot of transfer from this place to that place, then in that process what happens, then entire family gets disturbed. So these sort of issues are to be taken to the highest level, that there should have been or should be some relaxation as far as these transfer postings are concerned for women. One, this is also important point, because what I observed, that women are more sincere to their work in comparison to men in offices also. They are very honest. You can't force them to take bribe, because they are by default very fearful kind of thing, and they have that sort of discipline in their mind. They are very sincere to that part. So of course, taking in all these points into account, so they should be more or less kept in a comfortable situation throughout the their career, so that they can peacefully work in office as well as at home. So these are, from my side, these are some concerns which I always feel for the women. And they should of course be given all sort of relaxations or facilities, or whatever we can do for them, we should there. एंड हमारे यहाँ तो कहा गया कि नारी सर्वत्र पूज्यते, मतलब ये कहा गया, बट देन if today we see that is not happening, it has mostly become male dominated society. And of course today the women who are already educated and have achieved some certain level of education, then of course they are slightly independent, but then majority of the society has to suffer even today in our social system. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk.
Thanks, Narendra. Really nice to hear that from you. Actually, ideal situation for this panel discussion would have been a good amount of men, half women kind of thing, because I'm sure men will have better things to say about us, about women, and from their point of view, which is also very important, because like I said, you all are half the planet is men. And So thanks a lot. They're very important points. I really agree. Women education, jobs, transfer postings, and I like that appreciation of women being honest, disciplined workers.
This is what I have seen this in many systems.
Yeah, probably. We take it more to heart. I don't know. I don't want to appear biased at all. So, Virendra, do we have time to hear from anyone else, or do I just wrap
Yeah,
up?
the discussion is going very nicely, so I think we can extend it a bit more.
Okay.
With
So,
your
is there
permission.
anybody else from the Zoom group who would like to contribute something? Or from the YouTube viewers, if you all have any questions, you can add your questions.
The only thing I would like to add, sorry, this is Indranil Chattopadhyay. Okay.
Yeah,
The
please.
thing I would like to add with Naren, whatever Naren said, is that don't add too much responsibility on the woman. I mean, what he said, I agree with completely, but I mean, a woman has to take care of 2 families, cut that out. Okay. The woman has absolutely no responsibility for 2 families. Okay. The the father's family and then her mother's family, husband's family. Absolutely, there is no reason why a woman has to be put into under such pressures. The only thing I would say that raise your daughters in a way that you would have raised a son. That's it. I would like to add nothing else.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Indra. Yeah, you're right. Like the same thing I was saying was the superwoman story. Stop showing women that they have to be superwomen.
Yeah.
They can't. Right. Kuntal, there's a question for you in the chat. It says in Aries, currently there are 25 scientists. Amongst them, only 3 are female. That means only 12% are women scientists in Aries family. How do you explain this phenomena? This question is from PC.
Yeah, I saw that. It's by Pradeep. I don't have an answer to this because the question is actually, how do you explain this phenomena as a human being? So obviously, it's always nice to have a balance between men and women in office premises also. But I really don't have an adequate answer to this. If somebody else who is present here in Zoom is able to answer this, then I would also really appreciate.
It's blowing in the wind. But yeah.
So what was the question?
The question is that why do you only have a 12% representation of Aries scientists women?
Okay.
Only
But
12%.
how do you explain this phenomena as a human being?
And how do you explain it as a human being?
One reason might be the less number of women in the field who are applying for the jobs. So now, since the job is online application and so on, maybe more women applicants would be there. That is one. But anyway, one has to take some proactive role in inducting women in the faculty level. It has to be done. It is something I would say Aries need to look into.
Yeah,
it's a lacuna. I mean,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's a lacuna. It is no
And maybe
running
special
away
effort
from it.
can be taken to encourage women applications.
Yeah, I mean, if the number of women applicants becomes more, then I presume, you see, I mean, I always look at it into this like how well you are, sort of, what is your feel good factor? Like, I mean, as we means I as a male faculty has some, way of dealing with other scientists. Okay. So that needs to change as well. Okay. It's not necessarily because women are raised in a certain manner, they may not be that, strong in replying to questions or addressing the questions that are thrown at her. A male who is more raised as someone who has to fight it out is more, what should I say, more prepared to fight back. So it might happen in an interview board that a woman, the way the woman, reacts to a question and the way a male reacts to a question, there might be some difference. Although if you look deeper, there might not be much difference between the quality of these two people. Okay. So yeah, some sensitizing is required. Anyone who is appearing in some interview will be nervous because that person wants the job, right? So when you are nervous, you're likely to make more mistakes. Your reactions becomes a little, little jaded. You might have the way you in normal circumstances, the way you would have addressed a question, you may not do that in the interviews. So that kind of sensitizing should be there, and there should be some, what should I say, shepherding required, that okay, you need to take more women faculties, not just women faculties, of all genders, I would say. Don't just put men and women, all genders.
Yeah, definitely. This can be extended to all genders. That's.
Yeah, Priya, I would just like to add here that not only in Aries the percentage of women faculty is there, but it's a universal phenomenon.
That's right. That's true.
In all other institutes also, barring a few, and which is why
some it's zero. In many, in
some cases it is zero, and which is why WJJ is preparing this statistics year by year, also to bring it to the notice of the people who are actually at the positions of where the hiring is being done. The directors or the senior positions who are in the committees and various other positions. So that is why this statistics is also being brought out to them, so that they know that we are really lacking on this front.
That's right. It gets artificially covered up in universities and all that because, there's a reservation. But what is done is in universities, even if then you have the female, it literally is 33%. Because women are given the positions which are for women, and they are kind of considered not entitled for the open one. So again, it's as bad.
If I may add something to this question, it's more in broader or general terms, and to what I'm going to reply for this, I have also taken some of the aspects that our esteemed panel has touched upon. Is that the way our society, or particularly the Indian society, and the cultural surroundings that we have, it has become, the situation is such that usually in compared to say male faculty members or male scientists, if you compare the marital status of say women and males, you'll find more number of males who become scientists and then get married, whereas in case of women, a larger fraction will be already married by the time they finish their PhD, or they finish their postdocs. So here is one of the key points, that whenever two partners, or a couple, any member lands a job, it's usually the females who are expected to relocate along with the male. Whereas if the female has found a better opportunity, it is usually said that no, we already have a good life over here. We can skip it. So this is what probably I have observed in a few cases, and I've also got that vibe from the discussion that we have had here.
Which is specifically in astronomy, it's so much there, the two-body problem, right? You have a couple who met when they were studying, they get married at some point, And often maybe the boy is a senior, and obviously in that sense he gets his job and he's more eligible in the job market before the female is, and he gets the job first. And but there are many cases which we have in astronomy, very sad, where you have the couple who started off both as PhDs with astronomy. The husband then has a job and the wife just gives up, which is really very, very sad.
Right.
It's happened very, very often, and that's really a bad thing. It's sad. Yeah. So, is there anybody else? Saurabh, let's hear you. Darshana, Bhavya, Nikita.
A lot of young students from areas.
Yeah, I want to hear them. I don't know these people also because of all this online nonsense. We haven't met. So, Nikita, Darshana, Bhavya.
Yeah, I think they should really speak up, and at least we should be able to hear their
Yeah.
thoughts in this
Please
forum.
do add in your thoughts. Virendra, you're our timer. You should tell us when do we need to wind up.
We can still take maybe 10 more minutes or so.
So great. So please, Krishnan, please, the others on Zoom, please do let us know your thoughts. Because on the whole, what we talked, at least what I spoke about, was the usual thing, you know. But I want to hear something new.
Till they are getting prepared to speak anything, I will just address one of Anjali's point, which is regarding the mentorship program. So we've had many discussions about having a sustained mentorship program, especially at a PhD level, but haven't had any success for it so far. But at various other levels, like in the undergraduate level and at the master's level, there are already existing mentorship programs going on in India. There is one called Vigyan Vidushi program, which is run by TIFR, where the master's level students are being mentored by the faculties at TIFR. And there are a few more.
Academy of Sciences also has it.
Academy of Science also has that. And for awareness, DST has also created a new program which is called the Vigyan Jyoti program for the school students. So that's also there, but I agree that we do not have a sustained mentorship program at a PhD level, which is very necessary, not only for career path, but various other things. Being a mentor, I mean, you can discuss a whole lot of things with them. But some of the individuals do it on a personal level. Like I know many of my friends or even myself, we do it at a personal level. But a defined program would certainly be the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, even we all do it at a personal level, but if you had some person, you know, that's a great.
Thank you, Dr. Kunda, for the answer. Yes, good to know that those avenues exist.
Anything else others want to add? So in one sentence, let's ask the whole panel, what do you think is the key? Putal, what's the trick thing? What do you do? What got you here?
What I'm here.
What got you here? What do you think? In one sentence, what do you think got you here?
My hard work and perseverance.
Okay, great. Great. Neelam.
Yeah, same. Hard work and continuity.
Okay. Anjali.
Oh, I enjoy what I do.
Okay. So enjoying yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and one more thing that people think that family may be a constraint for doing a career in science, but I think my family is the inspiration for me.
Yeah.
Like my daughters.
Yeah, I would say motherhood is an asset. it should not be looked upon as this thing. I have sons, I don't have daughters, but my sons are like the guys who are most enthusiastic, you know. So we didn't touch upon this, but I wanted to state this very clearly, that often young girls are given this idea that, you know, if you want to do science, you better give up on this family business because, you know, you cannot do both. And they are told, I mean, they're made to feel that you have to give up on that for this. If you have that level of dedication, then you should not get married. If you get married, don't have children, and that will, you know, lead to success. I think that's very wrong. It is very, very wrong, because it's up to the person. If a person chooses not to marry, fine, or you don't want children, that's fine. It could be a personal choice, but there is no such thing that the this thing to success is giving up on family or kids. Kids are not your enemies, right? They are part of you finally. So I would agree to that. But we have added that yes, because you cannot do it without family support. You have to have your family supporting, right? You're traveling. We need to travel. We need to, you know, work at odd hours.
Yes.
Yeah, Kuntal.
Not only our present family, but it starts right from our childhood when our parents really encouraged us to do what we wanted to do. So I think it all started from there. Unless your parents were your pillars of support or strength, you would have not really reached thus far where you are right now.
Definitely. Definitely. Yep. Dimple.
For my mother's dream to break the stereotype, and I enjoy this work.
Great. Do the others want to add? Bhavya, Darshana, Saurabh? Yeah. So Virendra, should I wrap up?
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit late and I could not catch up all the
Hello,
discussion.
Saurabh. Bolo.
Yeah, so
What
can you
got
hear me?
here? In one sentence, tell me what got you here.
Yeah. So I think it's good. Like we are at this position that we can support like new generations. So at least we should give like support and freedom to new generation, like new kids, especially girl kids, to do whatever they want to do and give freedom whatever they want to do. So there is to be like no differentiation between guy, like boy and girl. And
Do you have a daughter?
I have boy to
Okay. But actually, boys also have to be trained.
yeah.
Yeah, that
So
gender.
freedom and equality is the like from the birth you have to like tell them that both of you are equal and you have freedom whatever you want to do.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, the gender sensitization is really important as far as you know, the Indian society is concerned and parenthood is concerned. That in the young generation, our kids, it's important to you know, I would say that the as a parent, although I don't have a kid as of yet, but it's really important that you know, we don't bring this differentiation or consciously or subconsciously between, say, a boy and a girl, or men and women, because you'll hear, you know, these young kids and particularly young teenagers, you know, when they will be playing, that if someone doesn't play well, "Arey, kya ladki ki tarah marta hai," you know, or you know, "Don't cry like a girl." So these kind of you know, things, even though they may not mean it in real sense, but these kind of things they have heard and experienced, which has you know, ingrained this subconsciously in their mind.
Yeah, or the example Dimple gave of her friends.
Yes.
That's very true. Is there anybody else? Darshana? Bhavya? Krishnan?
If I may add something here,
Please
nothing
do.
to do with our personal. Do you know what another thing is that on 8th of March, something else also happened, and it was led by women. The Tsar of Russia was overthrown. Okay.
Okay.
And it's on 8th of March.
Okay.
and it was led by women.
Okay. Yeah, so that is why in Russia, 8th of March is celebrated very, I mean, I studied in Russia, right? So 8th of March is a major thing. It's a holiday. And in India, when we were in
It was
school, there was
called
nothing on 8th of March.
it was called International Working Women's Day.
Yep. Yes. But I think later on, then when UNESCO and all took it up, then they kind of broadened it to general achievements.
Yeah.
But yes, in that spirit, that's true. Thanks. Yeah, that's true.
So the woman actually, what I intended to say was that the woman actually brought down a government. so if you want to look at the power of women, you can look at that as well.
Yeah, definitely, women can do that. Not too difficult. So I think Virendra, I'll wrap up now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So thanks a lot. First of all, I'd like to thank Virendra, and I thank our great panel and all of you all who've participated, given us very important points. And like I mentioned, since Untal is working with the ASI Working Group for Women, there are things that they will implement. There are things that we would like to implement as part of International Astronomical Union with Women in Astronomy. And these are very important, feedback which we need, which will actually help us in planning things. So I think we did touch upon points starting from the stereotype problem, where a lot of the stereotype breaking is in our hands. Like even Saurabh said that it's up to us to change the way we bring up our children so that the next generation does not have these stereotypes. Nikita, do you want to say something? Nikita, she's written something on chat. Nikita, if you want to speak, you'll have to unmute yourself and talk. Do you want to say something? Add it on chat. So I think the stereotype breaking is something which is doable, which is in our hands. Oh, your mic is not working. You type it. You type it on the chat, Nikita. So breaking stereotypes is something which we can do with our own children, the next generation who's in our hands. We need to be sensitive about things like what was mentioned, mother's child room, nahi, it should be parents' room. And similarly, it should be a joint responsibility about the children, about the house, about the elders, etc. It's a joint responsibility. Woman is not the superwoman who will handle everything. Everybody has to do that. Nikita, is your mic working now? Or I can see some mic is trying to work. You can type it, Nikita. So that's the stereotype thing. Role models, we itself are role models. We need to be building more role models of people at high levels and successfully. We need to, like I said, steps have to be taken by organizations like ASI, WGG, or even IAU Working Group for Astronomy, where we actually try to keep a check. For example, the IAU Working Group also, what they do is for every conference, which is funded by IAU, they keep a check on how many speakers are women, how many are non-women, how many invited, how many. So moment you have IAU funding, when you submit the report has to have a plot of how many invited and accepted speakers were women and man. What's the ratio to show whether you were being gender, were you balanced in gender, etc. So I think these groups can actually set up some kind of guidelines, which hopefully people can follow. The other important thing is that the job market, yes, there have to be corrections in the way jobs are advertised, the way jobs are given. For example, what Anjali said about single, married, transfer postings, Narendra spoke about that, about check for women percentage, even Kuntal spoke about it, about keeping stats for even our Indian institutes, universities, etc. What is the proportion of women so that people get aware? One important thing is people have to be aware that this is an issue. Many people do not even think that it's an issue. They think we are just celebrating Women's Day. It's not that. This is an issue which has to be addressed. There has to be something about this issue. It's not just to pass our time on Women's Day that we are talking about women doing astronomy or education. So gender sensitization at work, where actually Obviously, there should not be any sexual harassment cases. That definitely should not be there, as well as the discrimination on jobs or positions because it's a male or a female. But I think at Aries, that's not there, right? Because everybody goes out in the night, everybody goes observing, so that's not there. But at many places, they do have this idea that women will not be able to go. And uh, uh, again, sorry, I missed out, but when we spoke about jobs, the two body issue also, it would be really a good thing if at our jobs people thought of two bodies coming to be instead beneficial to the institution rather than getting them bit by bit, because then you'll have one partner either being unhappy or traveling, not being together. So they should actually encourage two body, that you have a package of two people with two specializations who can actually help. And last but not the least, I do agree that we have to involve men into our issues as much because they are also part of the issues that we face. Finally, Nikita has managed to write her chat, so I will conclude with what she has to say. She says, I just want to make a point that as we sense that we are living in a patriarchal society, so the extra balance between work and family has to be done by mother only. This is because I'm saying my mother is a working mother, but she has not received her due credit, and I believe that the same happens for every working mother. So I would agree that yes, it is considered that women have to do the balance because that's the cost they pay for wanting to work. That's a sad situation, but let's end on a happy note that let's hope times change, things change, attitudes change, and many of us who are parents or who will be parents, the next generation, we can groom them differently. Yeah. Is there anybody who wants to add something? Add something? No.
Yeah, just before we close, maybe I'll add a couple of points very briefly. So, for example, there was this issue of lack of role models who are women, particularly in sciences and in our field. So, I would especially like to mention the late Dr. Ratnashri Nandiwada over here, who I was really looking forward to work with when I joined over here. And I in my brief interaction, I got to learn quite a bit from her as far as the outreach activities are concerned, and I was really looking forward to meet her in person, and but unfortunately it was not to be. And a couple of other points that have been already mentioned, particularly by Neelamji, like the policies which are gender neutral, that has to there has to be emphasis on that. And lastly, one point which I would be henceforth in our outreach activities, I will try to include is the thing that Anjali mentioned, that stories of failures. This is not only something to do with girls aspiring to be women astronomers, but overall kids looking to become scientists. That as you had already mentioned, we are of more or less similar intelligence, and it is not that if you are a scientist that you are someone with a extremely high IQ and things like that. That it is a human being is a scientist, or a scientist is a human being, nothing different. So yeah, this is what I wanted to add.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's what a lot of women groups are even talking about, that it should be an inclusive thing where all women think that they can do it. They don't have to think that they have to be super intelligent to be. You're doing something you enjoy. You like doing it, and hence you're doing it. Why should it be necessary that you're super? So it to be inclusive for everyone who likes it, who enjoys it, who wants to study it. They should all be able to do it. Right? Kuntal, you want to add something?
No, I agree with this inclusive fact, and we all should believe we can do it despite all the obstacles and hurdles. We all are capable of doing.
Yep, that's right. Neelam, you want to add something?
Yeah, not actually.
Okay. So I'd like to thank everyone. Thank Virendra, Kuntal, Neelam, Anjali, Dimple, Bhavya, Indra, Nikita, Saurabh, everyone, thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah, Priya, this is not related to this conference. So have you booked your ticket?
Yes, I've booked it. I'm coming. I booked it. I sent the Google form. You should have received.
So train ticket also you have done?
Yes, everything. Everything is booked.
Yeah, so your accommodation will be in Nainital in TRH guest house.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so before we end, I would like to thank all our panel members and especially the panel chair, Dr. Priya Hassan, who readily agreed to join us and lead this panel. And I also would like to thank all our audience and particularly Narendraji, Indranilji, and Saurabhji to make it more interactive. Thank you all, and we wind up today's program over here.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.
Okay, Javed, if you are there, please stop the streaming and end the meeting, please.